Ladies and gentlemen, the USA's newest member of the Century Cap Club, Kristen Press. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and kindly remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of Chile. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome singer-songwriter Callie Bevier to perform the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched.
See this bacon? It didn't come from my pocket. It came from ranchers. Thank you, ranchers. Think I tracked that deer on my own? Thank the hunting and fishing guys who show us how it's done. You know what's really the hardest job out there? Being a parent, especially to me. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Daddy. Happy Labor Day from the Millers. Hey, don't you dare forget to thank the chickens for giving you their eggs.
The season is about to start.
Never played before? No problem. It's easy.
What a catch! Touchdown! Sensational! Defense of the World Cup trophy they won in such exciting fashion 4 years ago. But new rivals are emerging fast, and one is Chile, who meet the US for the very first time tonight. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the US Women's National Team. We're coming to you live from the StubHub Center in Carson, California, as the US Women's National Team hosts Chile. Ian Dark here, alongside former World Cup winner Kate Markgraf. Good evening to you. Welcome along. Kate, what can we expect from the US here tonight?
You're going to see a ton of energy, a packed house on a Friday night. I mean, everyone is so excited coming into this game, in large part because it's a lead up to what's coming up in the upcoming weeks, which is World Cup qualifying. They're playing against Chile, a World Cup opponent, as well as a team that has similar style as a CONCACAF opponent they'll be facing.
It's already been a tough year for the US team. They've been highly tried, but they've come through it unbeaten so far this year. There's the record, 9 wins, no defeats. 2 draws against Australia, who are a coming force, and France. They won the She Believes Cup in the wind and rain and goodness knows what else, some scary flights along the way, and the Tournament of Nations, which finished a few weeks ago in August against Japan, Australia and Brazil. There's the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying starting on October the 4th, and the USA have to get through that before they can actually play and defend their World Cup in France next summer. Very exciting times ahead, and we are very much at the sharp end of things now. But the US do have some new weapons, don't they now?
Well, every U.S. team that's won a World Cup has had aerial threats on set pieces. In the last World Cup, it was Julie Ertz in the near post. She still does those trademark runs, but now they have the quality of Lindsey Horan. She can sit on that back post. She can free herself with her excellent and well-timed movement. And whether she's 12 yards out or whether she's closer, she can navigate traffic. And it's her timing, not just on her runs, but her ability to connect on the ball at the right moment that makes her so dangerous.
Lindsey Horan in that lineup today. Rose Lavelle is fit again these days, alongside her in the midfield. And Kristen Press, who's just won her 100th cap recently, will captain the side in her home area. She lives about 20 miles from here.
Now watch for number 9, Horan and Lavelle. The connection between those two, can they have some interchange and some interplay? But more importantly, how close does Lavelle get to Morgan up top? That's something the U.S. team has been missing since she's been gone since September 2017. She started their last game against Brazil. Today they're going to look for her to help set play in the center of field.
Still the coach, Jill Ellis. Can she make a bit of history and retain the World Cup? That really would be something. Over 100 times in charge these days. Now, what about Chile? They're a technical side, and they really caused a shock in South America by qualifying for the World Cup ahead of Argentina.
They have 13 players playing in Europe and overseas, so they bring a lot of international experience at the club level, but it all comes down to their goalkeeper. 6-foot Christiane Endler plays for PSG, very technical, very sound, but more importantly, a strong verbal organizer that is able to manage her team on the field.
And they're coached by Jose Letelier, very, very successful in Chile, and won the Copa Libertadores as well with Colo Colo, the famous club from Chile. This was the ceremony just a few moments ago before kickoff for Kristen Press. Family and friends here. She won her 100th cap earlier on in the year and has been given the captaincy tonight. A special moment for her, playing on the right side of the attack. But her place in the team, starting lineup for the World Cup, would not be guaranteed by any stretch, would it? I mean, it's such a difficult team to get into.
Well, especially in the wide areas. They have incredible depth with every single player bringing something different. And it's the role that they have, whether the U.S. is down a goal, do they have the tool to come and help them get back? Or if they need to hold a lead, do you have those qualities to help that team? Those are questions that Jill Ellis is asking every player in the wide position, and they better bring something if they want to be on that roster.
By the way, the United States have played 42 games in California and never lost yet. They're currently on a 19-game unbeaten streak, going back 13 months. Form is good. Here's Tiana Davidson, just 19 years of age and making a big, big impression. It's the familiar figure, Becky Sauerbrunn, will be aiming to appear in a third World Cup final next year. This is Sonnet on the right back. US in the white outfit, Chile in the same colours that we've become very used to seeing their men's team playing. Of course, their men's team didn't make it to the World Cup in Russia. There were surprise absentees, Alexis Sanchez and all. They had sellout crowds in Chile when they were qualifying. People camping outside the stadiums to get tickets, unheard of in that part of the world. Here's Tobin Heath for the US, up towards Alex Morgan. Lavelle helping it forward, but to no avail. This, by the way, the StubHub Center, just south of Los Angeles, not very far from LAX, is the most used venue now in US soccer history, and they've never lost a game here yet. This is Araya for Chile, the holding midfield player They do like to pass the ball. We watched them in training last night. They look technically pretty good, but what will they look like against a team as strong as the US?
Well, it's just a matter about that endurance in the second half, but in the first half, they're going to stay compact. They're going to look to have short, quick balls, lots of play in the midfield, and then look to burst forward. They're not the team that's going to hit a long ball over the top. We didn't see that in the Copa America, in their qualifying. They're a team that will look to build through the center and spring somebody forward.
As Kate was saying just before the kickoff there, they do have a very good goalkeeper, one of the best in the world, in Christiane Endler, who's a 6-footer back there, plays for Paris Saint-Germain, top club in Europe. Free kick here for the US, as Endler might have a busy night. I think she probably will be anticipating it anyway, and has played in the United States in her past as well. College soccer in South Florida. Tobin Heath. Referee's going to want this pulled back. Is he on the turn? Is Morgan, who nearly found the corner of the net. She really is on a hot streak over the last year or so, Alex Morgan.
Well, at first it looks like it takes a deflection, a nice little clip by the Chilean defender, but not enough clear, and Morgan, the quickest one to react off those blocks of players.
Now 17 goals in the last 18 games and 9 in the last 7 for the national team. And that followed the worst scoring drought of her career for the US. Famine and flood, it's always like that, isn't it? The goal scorers, so they keep telling us anyway.
You like it when you're playing against them when they're in the famine part.
But you're worried that the flood's about to happen.
The dam will break.
Spoken like a defender, that was. Sonnet to play it inside. Here's Rose Lavelle. A lot of big hopes about her, the young lady from Cincinnati. Heath trying the back heel, didn't quite work out. Cut out by Leighton, who's been switched to the right back position tonight. She normally plays at left back. They brought in Panilla to play at left back, and they've left out the usual right fullback, Rocio Soto, who's on the bench. So that's just a little tweak by the coach. I mean, the confidence Chile would get if they could get some kind of decent result here going into their first World Cup. You couldn't really have a tougher fixture than USA away, and of course they've got a second game which we're going to show again on Tuesday up in San Jose.
Well, it's a great opportunity to play against one of the best teams in the world. It's a benchmark for them to see where they're at and to see where they need to improve on. They're coming with a ton of confidence after qualifying for the first time ever. This golden generation is what their media people were calling them, is a team that doesn't just have their sights set on going to the World Cup and qualifying. They think they can get in the second round, because after the second round, anything can happen on any given day.
I think you're going to see teams, surprise teams coming out. As the women's game is changing fast and developing fast now all around the world. Everybody wants to get in on the plot and the action, which makes it really interesting. Here's Morgan. Tobin Heath wanted it and gets it as well. A tricky winger. Defence did well there to make sure she did not get the crossing in the way that she was wanting to do. Kristen Press it was who got out into that left-hand side.
And it's all about the center. Can the U.S. break down teams through their central midfield? And it's Lavelle with the no-look pack in between the half channel, the half seam of the midfield and the back line of Chile. Gets all the way wide. Press tries to separate, and a good tackle by Guerrero.
Tobin Heath to take the corner happily over the injury problems which have rather blighted her more recent career with the US. She is a very important player, tricky, great dribbler, and makes things happen generally. Saez here, one of the central defenders, and Guerrero alongside. Oh, and the goalkeeper Endler's made a mistake there, nearly caught out. Tobin Heath very nearly took advantage, while the distinguished goalkeeper wanted too much time.
She didn't quite see her, it was on her back shoulder.
Becky Sauerbrunn. Chants of USA, USA ringing around the arena here, home of the LA Galaxy, of course, in Major League Soccer. Well, missed heartbeat here for the keeper.
And the goalkeeper is looking straight ahead. She's looking for her outlet pressure long ball, not even feeling Tobin Heath coming to poach the ball off of her.
Swing in the corner. The goalkeeper came for that, and it's a goal for the USA. Once again, on the set pieces, Tiana Davidson was it who got the final touch. They just couldn't defend that set piece as well. And within 10 minutes, the USA ahead here.
Look at this beautiful ball, nice and driven. Endler does not come out for it. And it's Davidson able to do a little bit of a flick. You get to see her push off just a little bit, and it takes a deflection off of Santa Benez. But Tiernan doesn't take her head off of it. Catches Endler coming to the ball. Hits off her fingertips and goes in. Too much power. Pretty good start for the Stanford Cardinal.
First ever goal for the US for 19-year-old Tiana Davidson, the Stanford student. Big, big moment. Definitely Santa Benaz got a little touch on that just before, but it's definitely Davidson's goal. Alex Morgan trying to thread a way through his Francisca Lara, the midfield player, back to Aido. And it's exactly what you were talking about before the game, Kate, the aerial presence that the US have now as part of their armory.
Just having that tool and that weapon makes opponents have to add another thing to their defensive scheme in order to stop the United States. And as a defender, knowing that you can't give up corner kicks, it makes you play differently. You end up going into tackles and trying to not give up deflections and become a bit more aggressive, trying to snuff the ball out completely instead of having tinker out over the end line.
The US do make a habit of making mincemeat of opponents they meet for the first time. Unbeaten in their last 22 such matches, and in the last 10 they've won by a combined 70 goals to 2. Which just shows what a mountain it is to climb. Have a look at the goal again here. Davidson really kept her eye on the ball. That was the key thing there.
It was, even when it took a little bit of a deflection from Santa Benez. You get to see her sitting there. Julie Ertz does the run, and she's able to push up, separate herself enough that so when she does get the deflection off of Santa Benez, she's able to flick it back into the corner. Endler did not have a chance on that one as her momentum was carrying her away.
That'll make her feel better because she had an own goal, didn't she, against Brazil in the Tournament of Nations. But very, very promising player.
You can't be a defender without giving up one of those in your career.
Lara with a good ball there. Now Aido. Laid back, and Naya has to make the save. It was a good effort from Araya.
Chile has the ability to hit long distance shots. They scored on one against Brazil in qualifying, and this one with the outside of the foot took a little spin that I think catch Nair a little bit off guard. Why she didn't catch it, it's got a little bit of mustard on it. She's being safe here, pushing it over.
Good effort by Karen Araya. That off the outside of the boot, as you said. Good technique from her, and a good response too from Chile to going behind. Could easily be rattled, could easily freeze in a fixture of this nature. Very experienced Karen Araya, the holding midfield player, but getting up to support the attack. She plays for Sevilla in Spain, which is a very nice place to be, by the way. A bit hot, mind you. I think they're all getting a day off tomorrow. The Chile players for a bit of tourism, but not Universal
I
Studios.
love
No,
it.
we're
Knew
not
you were
going
gonna
there. We're
bring
not
that
going
up.
there. They said, no, we're definitely not going there.
You were trying to push that so hard with anyone associated with the
Maybe.
Chilean Federation. You know, they'd really enjoy that. You know that?
Yeah, you're making me sound like I'm a spokesman for them or something.
Yeah, are you sponsored?
Definitely not.
No, I want to go.
I've got the chance. This time, Santi Banez could control it. The experienced Sauerbrunn to get it away, and then Rose Lavelle pressed to play it backwards, and then Sonnet, who's quite a character by all accounts within the camp. Lively individual. Lavelle. Lovely ball for Press. What a lovely piece of football that was. Showing some playmakeability there, Rose Lavelle. Perfect weight on the pass.
Well, it's her timing and intelligence on when to hit it. There's so much space in the middle of the field. There's pockets on both sides of their defensive center mid that Lavelle and Haran and Morgan, when she comes back into that space, are able to set play to put that weight on that ball so Press can hit it one time. It's just now a matter of Morgan and Heath reading that she's going to hit it one time and get there.
I mean, Kate, looking at this from the US's point of view, with the World Cup looming and the qualifying games looming in October, they're going to want to be ruthless here. It's going to be no mercy a bit, isn't it, this?
That is the reason, the first reason. The second reason is whenever you play a first-time opponent, you want to leave a taste in their mouth that they never want to play the United States again. And that level of intimidation pays dividends down the road.
Cut out by Julia, who finds a good ball. Kristen Press. It's the counter, but it's not quite accurate enough. Final ball. And it was the end of the attack. Press, who comes from Palos Verdes Estates, 20 miles from here. So all her family were here to see the presentation. Plus lots of friends as well. That's boosted the ticket sales. Looks pretty full, doesn't it? Good crowd. Lots of interest in this US women's team. Here's Padilla now. Inside to Aedo. The stadium play. Nobody'd read that one. Aedo had a spell with Washington Spirit. She's now with Valencia in Spain. Moran. Davidson, the goal scorer. It's cut out by Geraldine Leighton. It's Crystal Dunn, used as a left back these days, but she plays number 10 for her club. Versatile.
Just such a dynamic player. She can make a difference no matter where she's at. But for me, she always has to be in your starting 11.
Val, who's made a very good start to the game, fancies her luck from that range.
She just creates pockets and tight corridors, just being on the half turn, and then that separating touch right there, bypasses defender, unable to catch up. And I love the confidence to take a shot from distance. This is a player that basically sat out since September of 2017 due to injury and hamstring injury and re-injuring it. So now this is a game, it's a great opportunity to get some quality minutes against a World Cup opponent and build some confidence.
Heath easily past Leighton, a bit too easily from Chile's point of view that, because it could be that these two countries are drawn together in the World Cup. You never know. So far they can't get one of their most dangerous players, Rojas, the number 7, on the ball. Chile captaining the side tonight, dominating the midfield, especially Lavelle, who's running the game in there early on. is done. Let's have a look at Rose Lavelle, because she came back first start for a long time after injury and scored against Brazil. This was the goal in that particular game.
And that was just off a half chance, right? It's bouncing up, but look at the quality, a little bit of texture on it.
We'll hope to add to that tonight. She's still really a baby in the team in a way. 23, it's only her 12th cap tonight. Could get to about 200 like you.
Play for about a decade.
One of those nice gold caps in one of those cases.
I'm going to send you a picture of that gold cap.
Yeah.
You seem very fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's nice they do those sort of things. Lopez. Slides across to Guerrero. They want to play football from the back, and that's really something to be applauded. Got to make sure that those defenders, though, are comfortable doing that. Not every defender you'd come across would be. Lavelle once again trying to find the killer ball, not that time. Yesenia Lopez. Lindsay Moran's ball is a peach of a pass, perfectly weighted. Tobin Heath, who fancies her chances, I think, against Leighton, the right back. She's already shown her a clean pair of heels about 3 times. Dunn doing well. Wanted a free kick and getting one as well from referee Katia Koroleva from the United States.
And Dunn, just the pressure stays on, doesn't give up a foul. And the Rojas just does enough that the referee doesn't like it. Dunn's a low center of gravity makes her extremely difficult to knock off the ball. So sometimes if her touch isn't clean enough, she can still get onto it and bypass you with her incredible speed in small distances just because of her low center of gravity.
Look at the high line here that Chile are defending with. That's leaving a lot of space for that ball to be played into. It's a little bit hard to defend that going backwards, and it was a bit too near the goalkeeper Engler in the end.
And if you scout the United States, you know that they're going to hit that every single time. And look what Chile does. They bring one person trying to front it, decides to leave the player, leave press when she realizes that it's not going to go to her, and tries to front and back Ertz.
Sauerbrunn again. Sauerbrunn, who missed the She Believes Cup in the wind and rain of the winter with an injury, but he's back now in a usual spot, and Lavelle again skipping away. She looks like she's enjoying herself out there.
She's got acres of space, but she's the one that's connecting the back line to the front line and building up through the different areas on the field centrally, whether it's on the pass or on the dribble.
Press. And Megan Rapinoe for this game. She's got an injury. Will be out for about 3 weeks, we're told. So we'll miss the Seattle game coming up on Friday. A big one against Portland. Moran. Sauerbrunn, one of 4 in the starting lineup here, who played in the 2015 World Cup final, which the USA won by 5 goals to 2 against Japan. They were 4-0 up in 16 minutes, including a Carly Lloyd hat-trick. Raya. Sonic down the line. Good ball, that. Not an easy one. Press using that speed she has. A lot of grass to move into. Alex Morgan wanted to hit that across the goalkeeper, but didn't quite make the connection she was looking for.
It started with Sonnet with an excellent outlet ball, aided by deflection, goes to Press, whose heels are on the touchline, driving centrally. Defender not able to catch up. You see Morgan pointing exactly where she wants the ball, and it's weighted well enough that she can hit it one time. The question is, why weren't the Chilean defenders going to put pressure on her? They were relying on Endler to come up with the save.
That was knife through butter that time from the US attack. Another corner kick, more aerial threat, not quite that time. Julie Ertz was there, another of those that Kate was identifying before the game, who scored with a fair few headers in recent times. So formerly Julie Johnson, of course, now married to Zach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He put another good ball. Endler got a kind of a punch on it, not a great one really. Davidson with the long ball towards Morgan, and an important interception there because Morgan had pulled off into space.
Watching the U.S. warm up, it's fun to see who can strike a ball in the technique. And you watch Tierna Davidson, she just has such a clean strike on the ball that something like that service in was driven low. Wouldn't allow a goalkeeper to come out for that. Just perfectly paced.
It's another U.S. corner. Chile don't look that good defending them. Horan! Dangerous header. They just seem to be in trouble every time there's a corner kick or set piece.
And this is just a mental breakdown from Chile. No one is marking her. They decide to go zone, but then they don't put a number and a body on Horan. Instead decide to go with Lavelle. Now, if you do your scouting, you know that they're not going to be targeting Lavelle on every set piece. They're going to target Ertz or Horan.
Absolute chaos in that Chile defense. Every time they have to defend a corner, they just don't look happy doing it. Goalkeeper included. 7th corner already for the US. What have we played? 24 minutes. Once again, the left foot of Tobin Heath playing it in. Again, they don't win it. And this time it's onto the roof of the net amid some excitement there.
Chile is going with the zone defense, which is allowing players to get open. They're hoping that they have enough time to then put enough pressure on the target to disrupt their ability on the net. That time it was Sonnet.
Right back turning up there on the back post. A third of this US squad made up of California natives. Enjoy these two games in their home state. It's a nice ball for Francisca Lara, the goal-scoring midfield player. Getting Rocas involved for the first time really in the game. This right-sided player. Leighton coming forward. Thread inside Lara. Not able to get a shot away. She has scored in Chile's last 3 games, the number 4, the midfield player. Bonilla unable to keep the ball in play for Chile, whose only defeat in the women's version of the Copa America was against Brazil, and they weren't disgraced by 3-1. That was, otherwise 3 wins and 3 draws. One of the wins was 4-0 against Argentina, which is why Argentina will be in a playoff for the World Cup and not automatic qualifiers. There are the results that they had in the later stages of it. There were some earlier games as well. They drew a couple of times with Colombia during that tournament, which was staged in April in their home country. It's happening all over the world, isn't it? Women's soccer is really catching on everywhere now.
They're getting an opportunity to play. But these players are playing in Europe because they can't just be soccer players in Chile. They don't have a pro league. amateur status, many students having to work another job, and if they want to dedicate their lives fully to improving their game, they do need to go somewhere else. But 13 of them choosing to do so.
Press. Julie spinning away, showed some strength there. Former central defender, of course, converted now to a midfield player, and a pretty effective one too. Largely one-way traffic so far, just that one attempt by Chile, the effort from Karen Araya, which Alicia Naya turned over the crossbar. Well, this is close enough to have a go, isn't it, for Tobin Heath?
And she's left-footed too. She's going to have a look of it, and there's going to trust her wall and cheat a little bit to the far post.
So it is Tobin Heath. It's neither one thing nor the other. She was trying to pick up one of the runners, but didn't quite work. Sunday, September the 16th on ESPN. We'll have one of the hottest teams in MLS, DC United, taking on New York Red Bulls from the Audi Field. Wayne Rooney and the boys jumping up the league at the moment. His press now, though, for the US. Too near the goalkeeper. That game I was telling you about, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on September the 16th on ESPN. Would be some run if Wayne Rooney and his colleagues can make it into the playoffs from where they were. Rooney's enjoying himself in the United States.
Both on and off the field. There's so many clips of him going up to teams that are just doing pickup soccer in the park.
Yeah.
He's going up and chat with them.
Well, whisper. He's the kind of guy, Wayne Rooney, he'd play for nothing, you know. He just loves the game that much. Of course, he hasn't played for nothing. Far from it. Here's Rose Lavelle. Really having a great game. Burst of speed as well. They just can't lay a glove on her at the moment. They all know, though, that competition will be very, very fierce. But the coach Jill Ellis has said that the 23 she's picked here, it's not going to be that much different, the World Cup squad. There will be others who are hoping, and there will be a few places that are still up for grabs. But I guess if you're a player, and you'll know this, Kate, you want to make sure, don't you? There might be something here for Alex Morgan, who is a definite to go, of course, the key striker, and rightly so. Press, it wouldn't quite fall for her. Well, one back by Becky Sauerbrunn. Morgan. Press again. The wonder is it's only 1-0 so far. They passed some exams, Chile, back home in South America, but this is the degree course a bit for them here. Heath corner and flicked on, and that went over the line. I think that's gone over the line. It's a goal. It's 2-0, and the near post header doing the trick by Ertz. They just can't defend those corner kicks, but you've got to give the US some credit for the way they're making these pay.
First of all, Ertz doesn't have anyone challenging or disrupting her run, and Guerrero is reading that Endler is beat, decides to come back, but look at her body shape. She's already facing towards the goal. Very difficult instead of facing away from her own net. And you can see Guerrero trying to do something to get it out. Not a chest ball. Does the ball fully go over the line? It does look like
Yes, definitely. No question about that. You could see that as it happened. And I think that's going to go as a Guerrero own goal. As good as Juliet's header was, it might have just been drifting wide. And that would be the criteria. So I think that is, unfortunately, for Carla Guerrero, her own goal. You have to wonder there, Kate, you were a defender. Why wasn't there anybody on the post there defending that?
Because there's zonal marking, and what we saw in the World Cup is that a lot of teams will put zone on the near post, but they're forgetting about the back post, using to use that player as try to create a better advantage defensively somewhere else. But
that's
when
why
you
it's
do that
2-0.
though, but when you do that though, your body shape's all wrong when you're having to be that recovery player on the line. More importantly to me is if there's so much traffic in that near post space that Ertz is trying to run onto, how is nobody putting a body on her and disrupting her run a little bit? Why is no one giving her a hip charge?
Yaradine Leighton is the player down injured, and that's something definitely for the coach Jose Letelier to work on. I think this is going to be a big learning experience tonight for Chile.
And Leighton's been busy coming in and just gets a little bit of an elbow from Haran.
Here is Julie Ertz. I think she'll try to claim that goal. And I'll let other people argue about who they give it to in the end, but she's been on a run with 7 goals in the last 12 international matches. That's back to Emily Sonnet. Finds a good ball. Ertz again, a very dominant US. Crystal Dunn here, formerly of Chelsea. A spell in London, which I think she enjoyed, but back home now. England, by the way, making sure of their qualification for the World Cup earlier today with a victory over Wales. Will be among the leading contenders, you'd think. Again, a corner kick, and this time they defended better. Pania got up for the header. It's the first time I think they've won the ball from a corner kick, a red shirt. It was a big feature of the Men's World Cup, the increased number of goals from set pieces.
Well, to me, that's all because of VAR. VAR took away the pulling and the grabbing and the bear hug that you can experience from certain teams, and it made defenders play a lot more fair in their defending. Because of that, you couldn't get away with as much of the tactics that you can used to get away with in order to disrupt a runner or disrupt a target, especially one that is more dominant in the air than you.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think VAR is changing the game. Morgan, bit of a misunderstanding there with Ertz, who was making the run from midfield and getting ahead of the striker. It's quite a potent combination in that central midfield area for the US with Ertz, Haran and Lavelle.
Well, I would love to see more, and it hasn't presented itself because the inside wide channels are so open against this formation in Chile, is to see the interplay and passing between Ertz, Haran, and Lavelle.
Played back by Saez to goalkeeper Cristiane Endler. Lavelle again, very quick, nifty feet there to just drift away from a couple of challenges. To play it wide. I was watching a film about Becky Sabron that US Soccer have produced. Apparently she used to have a huge crisis of confidence in her career, thinking, I'm not good enough to play in this. And she's got through it all now, but apparently it was quite a big factor earlier on. You'd never think so, would you? Heath, bending, good save that time by Endler, because that one moved in the air and it was travelling as well.
Well, when Endler has been asked to come up big, she has. And watch the amount of pace and the bend on that ball. A little bit of Heath outside of her foot, and look at it. It's going in and it curves out at the last second with enough pace. Endler did well to push to that. Now it's key for her team to be better defending these set pieces.
See how they get on with this one. It's almost like a training ground routine, this, for the US today. How many corners have they had now?
But with someone
10 is the answer to that, sorry.
Yeah, no, but with someone different taking it. We've seen Rapinoe take those primarily from that side, and now you're seeing Heath and different level of service.
Yellow card, Tobin Heath.
And Leighton has come up big over on that side. And Heath tries to get around her, and it's the palm to the face. Yeah.
Well, she says sorry. It's Heath again. Chile trying to get out. They're finding it very hard. Penilla to Aedo, giving the ball away. And that's not what you want your midfield players to be doing, especially in a game like this. They do need spells of possession just to give a little bit of respite for this hard-worked, overworked defence and goalkeeper. But the next assault wave is coming, and it's led here by Julie Ertz. Here's Emily Sonnet. Long ball towards Lindsay Hearn. The goalkeeper's dropped it. Hearn might score here, and does, but no. It's going to be disallowed for the challenge on the goalkeeper. I think that's the right decision. The mid-air challenge. Welcome to viewers on ESPN News with the USA 2-0 up here against Chile in the StubHub Center, Carson, California, and they've been very much on top against Chile, the team who have qualified for the first time for the World Cup already. Goals, Tiana Davidson, her very first for the country. Both goals coming from corners. The other one was an own goal. A bit unlucky, really. Juliet's got a great header in, but it was Guerrero who helped it over the line with kind of just in the wrong position. I just wonder about the energy levels that Chile are going to have in the second half here, because they've had to chase shadows a lot of this game. And will their legs last, I wonder? Santi Banez cannot make any progress. Lara won it back. Lopez to play it wide. Now Rocas, highly rated player on the right side. Araya chipping forward. That's a decent looking ball. Becky Sauerbrunn read that, put the fire out. Flag was up, I think.
And that was pretty close on the line. We get to see a little bit of skill that Chile is capable of, a lot of interplay and a lot of passing, but right now the U.S. has been dominant on set pieces, especially corner kicks, and this one is Tobin Heath, and it comes through, and it's Tiana Davidson able to get the last touch of it on that near post. They've been so dangerous getting onto those balls, and this one is an own goal. Juilliard's able to flick it on Guerrero, trying to come back as no one's sitting on that back post, but your body shape is all wrong when you're coming from that angle trying to backpedal.
Here's Lavelle, who's been the US's player of the match so far, I think quite beyond question. She's been everywhere and generally brilliant. Aedo to lay it back, and there's one or two inquests going on about the Chile players. Aedo there was shouting at colleagues, wanting a little bit more movement and other players to show for her. Wearing that number 10 shirt, the playmaker from the left-hand side. Very important for the team in the Copa America, where Chile did so well, but that is a very, very dodgy ball. And Ender was able to cut that out, but whoa, I think that ball had suicide written on it.
think she's going to get a talking to at halftime from Endler. At least our goalkeepers would have been in our ear if we'd done that to them.
There's a few managers who would have been throwing cups around in the locker room. Famously, many. Not now, it's all more sophisticated. Sports scientists, yeah. A quiet word, etc. Heath lays it to one side. The US looking a very, very powerful and useful team who seem pretty sure to make another big run at the World Cup next year. I think them not qualifying would be absolutely unimaginable. They've only ever lost 4 games in 133 against CONCACAF opponents.
Well, it's unimaginable because the number of spots coming from CONCACAF has increased this World Cup cycle, as well as the environmental advantage the NWSL gives all these players on this team. So many of them are coming in playing well, that this is the best I've ever seen the U.S. team over the past 3 cycles going into World Cup qualifying.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have a look at the qualifying schedule. The draw comes up next Tuesday for all of that, by the way. We'll look at the US players who are shining in the Women's Soccer League. First half highlights in case you missed any. And we'll also pay our own little tribute to Clint Dempsey, one of the great US players who announced his retirement this week. Hurts. Moran. Morgan. Moran again. Sonnet, US having things just about all their own way so far. There is a difference in level, no question about that. But we expected that, didn't we, before the game? Tobin Heath goes past Pania very, very easily. She thought she might have been fouled. The referee agrees. Penalty. How much contact was there? Aido's complaining, Pania's complaining, but I think she just did catch Heath.
She did, and look at Heath. Baits her in, commits, and then is looking to dish in. At the fact that her arm is out, holding on to her shorts. And look at the angle. If you're an assistant referee, you have a clear line of sight to that sort of takedown. And Heath's inability to get that ball across earns this team a penalty kick.
You know, Tobin Heath made sure she went down, and it's just a minor tug on her. Yeah, that's what they do.
It's gamesmanship. You got to do it.
Yeah, and it gives Kristen Press here a chance to mark a special night when she's had all the awards for her 100th cap earlier in the year. To mark the occasion in front of friends and family down the road from her home here with a goal from the penalty spot. Not before the referee has delivered some lectures on the edge of the penalty area about not encroaching. Just what you want when you've got to take a penalty, all of these delays.
That's smart by Chile, forcing time, trying to get in the head of the kicker. And you can see Haran getting a little bit upset with Leighton, who's not backing down from the challenge. Haran needs to be careful. You can't have anything that looks like retaliation or a reaction to an affront that you don't like. The usual rule of thumb is you get to that corner spot as quick as possible and you make yourself big so no one can get around you. So that doesn't happen.
Kristen Press then, after quite a long delay. I'm sure she's held her nerve. Yeah, she did. In the corner, her 45th goal for her country in 104 caps. That's a pretty fair old return. And the US liked that. They made sure she got the chance from the spot.
And it all comes from this takedown in the pool by Pania. Does a little bit too much, and Heath sells it well enough. It allows Press to stand on the penalty spot, and she converts it with accuracy and pace.
There's a halftime whistle and some controversy going on about what happened immediately after that penalty went in, because they took a free kick afterwards. And some confusion about whether that penalty has actually stood. The referee embroiled in the controversy, Kaciuk Koroleva, but if the penalty was, if there was encroachment or something like that, a free kick is not the correct decision. So I think that stays at 2-0. Well, that's absolutely incredible. That really is incredible.
So it comes down to whether or not there's encroachment here. We were confused here because they started with a goal kick instead of kicking off in the half field, and it's about whether or not there's encroachment on the right-hand side. You get to see Dunn leaving her spot and coming in before the kick.
Yeah, it was the defender who came into the penalty area
But she only took a step,
first.
but I think the reason why they're calling it back, either it's defender or on Dunn, it's both of them. They get into the box early, and
I've got to say that
Morgan,
is
both
absolutely
sides.
ridiculous.
I have never seen that call.
Absolutely ridiculous. But
It's crazy.
the upshot is that goal doesn't stand, and it's 2-0 at halftime, and Kristen Press has been denied that goal on home territory. We'll look back at that and on the qualifying schedule in just a moment.